and welcome to the Sam Show, where today we're going to talk about being a recovering influencer. And what does that mean to be a recovering influencer? That can go left, right, centerfold, who knows. But first, before I talk about what it means for me personally to travel the journey of becoming a recovering influencer, I just want to talk about my journey, period, of how I even became an influencer and what that looked like for me. Because I know that is such an inspiring job and position to have. And why wouldn't we want to do something where we can work from home and be creative and do whatever just feels so right to us? So if you're interested in becoming an influencer, I really hope that I can help you. Just giving you some insight and tips and what worked for me. And let me introduce you really quick. If you're not visually watching this, you're gonna be like, what the heck am I talking about? But everybody check out Mr. Crowley. It seems Mr. Crowley is gonna hang out on the pod with us. This is my boyfriend's all black cat. I swear the first time I ever started coming over to my boyfriend's house, he hazed me 110%. Mr. Crowley had no problem letting me know whose house this was. I I would leave my toiletry bag on the counter the very first night. You're coming over. So I bring my little toiletry bag and I left it on the counter and I stayed the night. But I woke up the next morning and Mr. Crowley had dumped all my stuff in the toilet. He had strung it out all over the floor. He had ripped open all my tampons. And this just went on for like 3 days. Like the three consecutive times I would come over, he would just constantly haze me. And he'd throw my stuff in the toilet, he'd throw it in the garbage, on the floor, spread it out, like whatever it may be. He had no problem letting me know who's boss as he is right now. Mr. Crowley, please keep it to yourself. This is supposed to be a PG-13. They allow cussing now, so I can say PG-13. Um, he's so cute. Okay, but other than that, let me introduce you to Mr. Crowley. But regarding my journey as an influencer, so I personally did not really care to take on the word influencer. When anybody would introduce me or I would introduce myself, I would introduce myself as a content creator. I chose content creator just because I felt like it was a little more fitting to my background and the kind of content that I was producing. Although I wasn't a very salesy person, I was still working heavily with brands to market their product on my page to my followers. But I started in 2019. So in 2019 is when I started just kind of, I don't want to say consistently, but we were actively posting on social media a whole lot more than I ever have in my entire life. And so reference for how old I am, during this time, I'm 19. So in 2020, I'm 20, 21 in 2021, I'm 21 and 22, but I am 19 in 2019. So we're going out to the Fort Worth stockyards often, every weekend, Thursday through Sunday, you name it, I'm there. Our group is there. We're dancing, we're hanging out, we're staying late. We're just being 19-year-olds, enjoying our time. But I was a 19-year-old that loved Western fashion. And not just your Western fashion that you see today. Because I have an opinion on that, on what Western fashion has become, and it is not something I will keep in my closet. But the Western fashion I fell in love with was vintage Western fashion. I was wearing Rockies, Wranglers, Ropers. I had turquoise Wranglers, purple Rockies, like the craziest colors. And then I would wear that with either a crop top. Crop tops were super popular. So I had like a vintage style, retro printed Western tee that I would cut up and botch with some scissors because what girl doesn't cut their t-shirts up? It's a thing that we do because honestly it feels so much lighter and better and you get the breeze and you're like, yeah, I'm in a crop top. And most importantly, you can see that I have a waist. Isn't that nice? And I was also pairing it with vintage Western button downs. So I was so big into collecting vintage Western button downs. And I'm saying this as I'm like, oh, aha, look at what I'm wearing. I am here sitting in, this is actually a vintage polo Ralph Lauren. Isn't that so cool? I thrifted this from a Goodwill or Salvation Army. Got so lucky. I wear this shirt all the time. It's one of my favorites. It's really long, super comfy. But I would be wearing vintage Western bottoms, vintage Western tops, and I would pair it with Vans. And so like in that moment, that was the trending style. That is what was happening. And I was kind of a leader in that trend and consistently a leader in that trend. And also like would stylishly pair stuff together that looked fun and looked cute. And so I started posting my outfits, just posting my weekends with my friends, what I was wearing, and it started to gain traction. My posts started to get more likes. They started to blow up. I started to get a lot more followers. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, never had this happen before. I'm not a social media girly. Never been a social media girly. Like, my best friend growing up when social media came out had to make an account for me behind my back and was like, hey, here's your password. And it's just something I've never been drawn to. Spending a lot of time on my phone, something I've been drawn to. Like, growing up, never had a TV in the room. We hardly ever watched TV. I am the girl that is always feeling left out when it comes to movie references. Like, people will be saying taglines for movies or quoting script from movies and going back and forth. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know what they're talking about. And I'm talking about like American classics, like movies that like majority of the country has seen. I have not seen. There just was not, just wasn't common to have a sort of device, whether it was a TV, a phone, whatever, within my sphere. And I'm so thankful for that, honestly. Like, that's how I'm gonna raise my kids. Like, if they want a phone, they're gonna have to earn it, pay for it. When they're 16, they're getting a flippy, okay? And that's only because they're driving. Until then, they don't need a phone because they're always gonna be with mama because they're gonna think mom is so cool. She's gonna be their bestie. But like, social media was just something I was never drawn to. I just wasn't used to it. I spent all my time outside. I love to be outside. Why be on social media? Why post? Did not make sense to me. But here's something that has always rung true to who I am, is that I've always carried a creative, entrepreneurial spirit. And this entrepreneurial spirit is really driven by the fact that I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being put in a box. I don't enjoy just rinse and repeat. And I'm always interested in doing something chaotic and something wild. And hold on, this cat, I'm so sorry, y'all. Like, if you listen to the Get to Know Me episode, ADHD runs through my veins like a hot-blooded something on something. We're not so witty. But I'm gonna have to excuse him, Crowley, please. Will you excuse yourself if you were going to do that? Please don't bite me. Okay. So maybe... Oh my goodness. All right, let me see if I can get myself back on the same page of where I was. I know I can. But okay, yes, so the entrepreneurial spirit just really rung true to me for multiple reasons, just besides the fact that like I wanted to be my own boss. There was a lot of characteristics about me that just screamed like entrepreneur. So when my page really started to blow up, I just like had this sense of opportunity. And I'm very big in like, oh, what is this? Let me investigate. What do we have here? What can I be a part of? What's happening? So I saw this sense of opportunity as I started to follow back a bunch of the Western fashion girlies that were following me, and I was kind of catching on to what was happening. I was like, okay, people are posting outfits, people are tagging companies. The companies are tagging our boutiques, and they have social media pages. Okay, and now there's photographers, professional photographers. Like, didn't even know what a professional photographer was. I'd never worked with one before. Like, I had my mom's Canon and that was it. That was great. But I like started to see this community and I was like, whoa, like I actually like this. I dig this. I want to be a part of this. And so a Western boutique named Gypsy Pearl posted that they were looking for ambassadors. And I'm in college during this time, and one of my girls in my friend group knew Gypsy Pearl very well. And she was like, hey, look, they posted that they were looking for ambassadors. You should apply. So I applied. And believe it or not, yay, gave me my very first opportunity ever to step into this world was Gypsy Pearl to work with the brand. And although I was just an ambassador, it was opening the door for me. And I was super excited to see like what could become of it. And when my page just started like really gaining traction, I was just like, what can I do with this? Like, what is happening? How can I grow? How can I take this opportunity and run with it? Because one thing I've always wanted is just to be a well-known face, a well-known leader, somebody that people love and they come to and they feel good to be around and they feel inspired. And I've always wanted to be that person and just to share the light and love of Jesus Christ and our Lord and Savior, and have, I constantly pray that God works through me and that people get to meet and just meet his kindness and his love through me. And so when I really started to like hunker down and pay attention what was happening in this Western fashion world, I started to put in the work. I constantly, like, photographers were looking for models all the time. This is when Western fashion was really hitting it heavy on social media. This is when you had your OG influencers. This is when you had the people that were coming in and really changing up the game. And so photographers were constantly looking for models. And one thing I knew is that if I wanted to make it, I had to show up. I had to put my face as many places as possible, so I became recognized by the community and accepted by the community. And maybe not accepted, I would have said I expected to be there, because I am showing up. And that way they can start familiarizing themselves with who I am. But also another thing too, like, by always volunteering and being a part of these photo shoots, I'm constantly getting content to post. I'm constantly being shared on boutiques pages. I'm constantly being shared on photographers pages. So this network I was building was really allowing me to grow organically, because I was choosing to put myself, I have zero modeling experience. I'm a tomboy country girl from East Texas. And if you know anything about East Texas, we are as redneck as they come. And girl, I am redneck. I am tomboy, redneck. I don't know how to model. But one thing that does ring true about me as well is I do love the camera. I do love to say cheese. I do love to smile. I love to get dressed up. I love to go out and I love to have fun. So why wouldn't I? Okay, 1 second. Crowley, am I gonna have to like put you away, buddy? I'm gonna have to cut this part because he's just not cooperating. Okay, we now have 2 dogs and a cat in a room, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm like, where was I? Oh, other than really familiarizing the community with who I was and me being perfect modeling experience. See, it always comes back to me at some point. But if I don't speak on this now, it'll leave again. So I had zero modeling experience whatsoever. I don't know how to pose my body in front of a camera. I'm a real curvy girl. Like, how do I flatteringly pose my body to also showcase the product appropriately? Like, don't know how to do that. So what I began to do just to get comfortable with posing in front of a camera when I was going to these photo shoots was practicing in the mirror. I know it sounds so silly and people are like, you're so self-conceited. You just look at yourself and stare at yourself in the mirror all day. Baby, I'm working. That's exactly what's happening. You are working. You're getting an honest reflection of yourself. That way, when you go and show up for your job, you know what poses you want to pump out. You got your foundation poses, and then you can build off of them. And there's honestly nothing more frustrating. And I know a lot of people will understand this. But there's nothing more frustrating, honestly just upsetting, when you are at this photo shoot, you feel good, you feel hot, you feel fiery, spunky, baby. And you get your photos back and you're like, oh, I don't recognize her. And you don't want to share any of them because you hate all of them. There's so many little details that could have been pointed out, fixed, re-imaged or whatever, but just because, you guys were in the flow and you were having fun and it was just a good time, and those little details weren't paid attention to. And I can also speak at this from like the photographer's side as well, just because I am a photographer. But while being the model, It's very important because you get photographers that aren't very in tune with shooting models and brands. So they're not going to know those finer details to look for when it comes to shooting the clothing, shooting jewelry, shooting hats, shooting boots, shooting facial features, shooting a certain body type, shooting certain skin tone, natural light, harsh light, whatever it may be. So it's always really important as the model to know yourself, your job, your poses, and what you're showing up to do very well. Also, while modeling, a little modeling tip: when you're working with a photographer, do not be afraid to ask to see the images. Please, as a photographer, I'm like, yeah, I show the images because I'm like, hey, like, is there anything in here that maybe like I'm not seeing, like, but you're catching that, like, you don't like or you want to fix. And that way you get an idea and you're looking through and you're like, okay, I'm onto something, but let me tweak this and try again. And then you tweak it and you try again. You're like, perfect, money shot. Love that photo. Isn't that so much better than just getting the album back of photos you hate? Yeah. So also, from the photographer's perspective, going to drop a little tippy-ippy here. It's always really good to just do a fun little run scan real quick. You just want everything symmetrical, everything flush, everything facing, everything showing, no shadows, and just that way you capture the products in its most authentic, real color. So besides that, I was really into modeling. So I started modeling a lot, and that rolled into 2020. And in 2020, I'm continuously modeling, and I'm working with a lot of brands. I'm becoming a part of ambassador teams. I'm getting involved with communities and girls. And it wasn't really until 2021. I think 2021 is when I started to get paid. Possibly a little bit sooner. I'm not entirely sure. But it wasn't like in the very beginning, I was very unaware of what it meant to charge people. To post and share on my platform. Like, even at 10,000 followers, I'm not too sure that I was charging brands to work with me. I think I was just doing product exchange. Product exchange is great when the items are stuff that, like, I'm going to continue to wear and have in my closet, but product exchange also, like, isn't paying my bills. It's not putting money in my pocket. It's not helping me grow my business. It's not money in my savings. It's not helping me achieve more life goals that I want. And so, like, something very important to ladies as being an influencer and a content creator, like, your follower count, I can tell you, does not matter. When the quality of your content and your engagement is producing, if you have less than 10K followers, you should be charging people. And now I'm not saying, hey, charging like 500 plus outrageous amounts of dollars, but charge for your time. Your time is money and you deserve to be paid. And so that is something, though, that you solely rate yourself. That is not something that I can be like, hey, you should be charging X, Y, and Z amount of dollars. Whatever you think you are worth, charge. Not only that, don't be afraid to negotiate. Brands absolutely have the right to come back to you and negotiate your price and say, we love this, but we can only afford X, Y, and Z. And instead of throwing the entire brand deal away, just think of a way you guys can work together within their budget. Be like, okay, I can accept this price, but I'll have to remove a reel. I'll have to take off some photos. Make the adjustment so it's a mutual beneficial deal for everybody. And then besides, really getting that kickstart in my modeling career as a Western fashion and lifestyle content creator, just putting my face as so many places as possible, being a physical body in photo shoots, working with photographers, working with brands, volunteering constantly, I started to host women's retreats. I started to host women's retreats within the community with my friend who is a photographer. Her and I would get together and we would put together these women's retreats where brands would buy in and send their product and have the opportunity to have their product, worn and modeled by these girls from all over the United States that would come to work with us, and then also have the professional photos in return and videos and lots of tags and mentions. And it was just a big network of really building community. And by building community, I also created that expectancy, like, of being the hub and being a host and getting people together and being light and airy and fun. And that's what I wanted. And I want people to feel like they can come to me and have a confident space to come learn and model and wear fun clothes. And, well, the cat has officially let the dogs out. I'll just see if they lay down. But animals are such a funny little distraction. So, hi, this is Gracie. She's saying hello. Gracie, go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. And she, okay. Go lay down. Good girl. Okay. Um, this is just so funny. I guess last time I closed the door better, or this cat just has been secretly practicing on how to open the door because he totally just let loose everybody. But that's fine. I think they're all going to be able to find a little place to hang out and get cozy and sleep and hear my soothing little voice, like rock them to bed like babies. But it is when I am like in a spiel and I'm on it, if something distracts me, I'm like, oh, train of thought gone. All right, women's retreats. Yeah, baby. That's where we're at. We are in women's retreats. And so I just wanted to be this confident, safe place for people to want to come and be in my world and in my sphere and learn from me and give feedback and ask questions and be like, hey, girl, I want to be an influencer, but I'm scared. And I'm about to answer that question for you because people fear judgment. And it's so easy to fear judgment when putting yourself out there because the internet is so damn mean. Like, I don't know why the internet is so daggone mean, but everybody who has no leg to stand on thinks that they have an opinion behind a screen. And it just baffles me that as humans, one, we treat each other that way. Two, we get away with it. Three, we're confident slaying somebody's name in a comment section and not thinking anything ill or poor about ourselves and thinking that it does not reflect us poorly at all and we have the right to say that and tear them down and we are almighty and what the F? Like, pause for that because the community of mean girls and just mean women, mean adults, even mean men that get on our pages and are just commenting ruthless, hateful stuff. Like, the math is never math to me. But it's really easy to fall into that question area of what if they don't like me? Are they going to like what I post? What if, especially y'all in the Western industry, and it breaks my heart that the Western community is this way because we're such a dying art, a dying niche, a dying era, and we hate newcomers. We as Western people, and I speak for the majority and not I, but we do not like newcomers. For some reason, whatever it is, if you want to be a part of the Western lifestyle and you weren't born into it, there's an issue. Now, I'm not saying all people are like this, but a lot of people have a problem with people stepping into the Western industry. And I can understand why, because there is also a misconception that I agree if you are going to step into the Western industry, please educate yourself on our lifestyle, our history, our ways, our whys, and why we do things and what we believe in. You know, us cowboys and cowgirls aren't just a pair of hat and boots. I promise. We are grit. We are hard work. We are cuts. We are bruises. We are losing animals. We are keeping a family together. We are feeding mouths with bare minimum wages. We are fighting the societal norms constantly. We're dealing with Mother Nature. I mean, there's just so many things that take place. So it is super frustrating when people do try to step into our industry and they come in uneducated and they try to romanticize the lifestyle and make it manageable and maintainable when it's not. It is something that requires day in, day out work. But here's where I don't have a problem with any of it. If you appreciate the lifestyle and you're appropriating it appropriately, where it is doing our lifestyle justice, and you have educated yourself and you're educating people on our lifestyle, I am more than happy to have you here in our world, in our sphere with us. I want it to grow. I want people to link arms through this and bring in more people and us grow bigger and us fall in love with the land and fall in love with why God made the land and made horses and cows and grasses and grains and farmers and cowboys and ranchers and all those things that keep this earth spinning. Because I promise you it's not your Teslas that keep moving, keep this world moving around. But what I promise you it is hard-working people. And that is what our Western community is. But our Western community also can be very intimidating because it's not a lot of common knowledge that takes place in our Western industry. You know, how to saddle a horse, how to take care of a horse, how to maintain a horse's health, how to properly wear your damn cowboy hat. Like, that is one of the funniest things to me. If you purchased a cowboy hat, you have it on backwards, I have no problem like, hey, your hat's on backwards, I will absolutely do my public service duty to save you to continue from looking like a little dummy. But there might need to be a little cowboy, how to wear your cowboy hat book for dummies. Because I'll give you a tip. There is a bow tie that when the sweatband meets and it is seamed together, there's a little bow tie. Bow tie to the back, baby. Bow tie to the back, baby. Remember that. Bow tie to the back. And a lot of people as well, when it comes to hat shapes, some hat shapes are pretty much symmetrical. Wide in the front, wide in the back. So you can't always tell which way your hat goes on. Normally, 95% of the time, it's a little narrower in the front than it is the back. But just remember, bow tie in the back. If I taught you anything today, it's how to properly put on your cowboy hat. That is bow tie in the back, baby. But truthfully, like the Western industry as a whole can just be very intimidating. And to move off of the Western industry a little bit and really just talk about stepping into sharing your life on social media and sharing it in a creative, marketable way that you also receive growth and you also receive feedback from people and you receive engagement. And if you're selling a product and you're being influencing and you're influencing someone to purchase a product, like you're getting them to follow through with these purchases because they believe you and they trust you and you're building a community. And I solely can say, like, when making the choice to step in as a social media content creator or influencer, if it does not feel right to you, don't do it. Keep your morals, your values, and your ethics the center of your reason, your page, and your why. If you do that, everything else will be okay. And honestly, and if you're somebody too, where you're like, hey, if mean comments start flooding in, they're gonna get to me. Turn them off. There is no shame in protecting your peace. You absolutely have the right when it comes to social media to protect your peace. Next of all, things aren't always, oh my gosh, there's such a big obsession with going viral. I've never had anything go viral. I built an account up to 90,000 followers. I had a TikTok account of 70,000 followers, and to some that sounds like nothing. But throughout that organic growth right there, I never had anything hit over 400,000, 300,000, if that. Like, never had anything go viral. And that was okay. I was still able to grow without that virality. And I'm so happy I grew without that virality, because virality brings temporary people and it brings an audience that oftentimes you don't really want, because something can go viral for the wrong reasons. And I want people who are going to stick around because they believe in my message, they believe in who I am, and they believe in my brand and what I'm doing. They believe in what I am influencing. And so just being comfortable, and comfort's really a hard word to use as well, because there's so many times like I have felt uncomfortable because I have often felt the fear of judgment, or I hope this does good because I have a brand's money writing on it, or I hope that they like the way I paired these things together. Like, I am 100% in that same boat. All those questions you're asking yourself, as somebody who was an influencer and content creator for 5 years, I've been there. I'm not above all. Just because I created an successful organic account does not mean I share the same struggles as the one wanting to start out. It is so easy just to fall in the fear mongol of what we think other people are going to think of us. And that's super common because, growing up, people attach things to us, and words are the most powerful thing that can be attached to our soul, our mind, our belief system, how we think about ourselves, how we carry ourselves. Something that could have been told to you as a 6-year-old child. I don't remember anything when I was 6. If you do, kudos. But something that could have been said to you when you were 6, like if you're singing loudly and your mom was like, shut up, you have an ugly voice, because you're getting on her nerves, that can stunt you from ever singing again and ever believing you have a beautiful voice. I have an ugly voice. Why do I want to share it? If you're in middle school and you're getting bullied and they're calling you fat, they're calling you chubby, they're saying you're ugly, you have a stupid haircut, oh, you have poor shoes, we're so mean to each other for no damn reason, but let alone those things can stick with you. Like, you'll believe that you're fat and you'll believe that you're nothing but fat because you don't deserve to be anything else but fat because that's what people have always told you. But that's false. At a young age, we are developing and we are growing, and our bodies go through so many different changes. Our styles go through so many different changes. Like, if I could pull up photos of what I was wearing when I was a little girl, y'all, while my mother dressed me, she made sure I looked damn cute. But I was country all the time. She had me in boots, she had me in jeans, she had me in a little button down and a cowboy hat. But when I really started to get to dress myself, for the longest time, I wore athletic wear. I was big into sports. I was not interested in being a girly girl. I did not have a heavy amount of girlfriends. I liked to do what the guys do. I liked to play sports. I was rough and tough, so I was in sweatpants. I was in basketball shorts. I was in t-shirts. I was in that side pony with the swoopy bangs, or the big chunky headbands. None of that's flattering to a little girl whatsoever, but that's what I felt good in, and so that's what I chose to wear. And looking back at pictures, it's just like, wow, how did you ever develop any sort of style? But my style came through creativity, and I think also an expression of my ADHD of just being able to throw things together on a whim. But it is so important, if you're Sarah, we're going to go down the line, you get older and you get fired from a job and they belittle you and tell you things. It is so easy for us to fall in that belief, because it's easier for us to believe something, harmful and negative of ourselves than believe that we are great. We are destined for power and beauty and purposeful, and we are deserving and we are divine, because we are all those things. But nobody tells us we are those things. Some people are very lucky to have parents who do nothing but lift them up, tell them they're proud, believe in them, but not all of us got that damn lucky. Not all of us get to hear how beautiful we are. Not all of us get to hear how proud our parents are. Not all of us get to hear our friends say how much they love us, how much they love being around us. And not a lot of us are ever supported. They'll say, oh yeah, I support you. But do they continuously, positively support you verbally? Or do they only support you when it sounds good? Or they only support you to your face, but behind your back, they might have negative things to say? So it is super important that this cycle of believing these things that we're being told, when it comes to comments, and comments can get so hateful and they can get you questioning your self-worth and the value of the person behind the screen, probably sitting in their mom's basement with a bag of chips and Cheetos, playing video games, or just doing nothing with their life, is projecting their own sadness onto you. And I think it is so sad that us as humans, because we weren't taught to believe in ourselves and be loud and be proud and be too much and break the status quo and stand out. You're a weirdo if you stand out. You're a loser if you stand out. Nobody wants to follow you in BS. No, everybody wants to follow. They just need a leader. So if I can encourage you to do one thing, is take that first step and be a leader. Yeah, it's going to be scary. Yes, you probably don't know what you're doing. Yes, you're not an expert. Yes, you probably still believe you're a loser, but who cares? Start taking the actions and living the reality of the life that you are not a loser and you are capable of being anything and everything you ever wanted to be. Because I promise you, before you know it, you are those things. You already are those things, but you've got to step into your own truth. You have to step into your own truth. And I know I'm getting just super deep on sharing with you guys how badly I just want this negative realm of just hatred that people do onto us, and then we soak in like a sponge, and then we believe, and then we become moldy, and we become icky, and we become sad, and we become damp. And no, wring that baby out. Wring that sponge out. Today, I want you to cleanse yourself of all the negative things that have ever been told to you. And I want you to fill them in with positive affirmations. Remind yourself of what you're capable of. And I am literally the worst at this. I am like, oh, I have nothing to show for. I'm 25. In my current state, y'all, I am broke as shit. I am now employed as of 2 days ago, coming off of almost 8 months of unemployment. I'm just went through a crazy 2024 transformation. I was lost in my purpose, lost in my why, redefining who I am, healing wounds that I never even knew were wounded and infected and had been infected for years. Because I was constantly just band-aiding them and band-aiding them and band-aiding them and never actually dissecting them and getting the gook and the gunk out and getting the infection out and cleaning it up and then sewing it and putting it back together. I had finally, this past year, I've done such a crazy amount of self-work that I don't even recognize who I am. I'm thankful that I don't recognize who I am because I recognize the little girl in me, though. I 100% now am more in tune with the little girl in me than I ever was before. Her and I, my 7-year-old self, before when I was 10 and could actually internalize what the naysayers were saying, my 7-year-old self who was loud and proud and confident and didn't care what anybody thought, is sitting right next to me daily as we go through this life together. Her and I are taking over the damn world one day at a time. And I encourage you so badly to start positively affirmating yourself because you are deserving, you are divine, you are worthy, you are all of these things. And actually, I did bring this little piece of paper with me where I wrote down 10 of my affirmations that now on a regular basis I'm going to start telling myself. I have not been affirming myself in the past year, but this is a practice that I will be practicing. And so I decided, what are 10 affirmations I want to speak into existence? I want to speak aloud. I want to speak where the particles and the energies and the dust and the people and the birds and the songs and the bees, they can hear me because I am proud, I am loud, and I love myself. And I deserve to feel that way. So I'm going to read these 10 affirmations for you. Take what is for you. Please take all 10 or take none. But if I have 10 affirmations, here what they are. I'm the luckiest girl in the world and everything works out for me. I'm loved and highly favored. I am the woman of my own dreams. I require no validation. I'm going to touch on I require no validation really quick. Because going back into wanting to step into being a content creator, influencer, whatever it may be, validation. For some reason, we always feel the need to be validated, accepted, liked, appreciated, wanted, validated. Why is it that we just feel this need for everybody that is receiving what we are putting out to like it, to validate us? I'm not for everyone. I know I'm not for everyone. So why do I treat my account and my page like it's for everyone and like they're gonna like it and digest it? Because truthfully, I don't really want anybody within my community and my journey who is not in tune with my own beliefs, because they have another community that they belong in where they get along with like-minded people, and that's where they flourish and thrive. Like, it's okay not to be accepted and validated and received positively by everybody. Like, you're not going to. And if you are, then you're not doing it right. And if you're not stepping on toes, then you're not pushing the envelope. Step on people's toes, crush them, break them, crunch them, make them scream, make them hurt, because you were so strong-willed and strong-forced. And I'm not saying because you were slashing and slaying them with verbal accusations, but because you are boldly being yourself without validation. Nobody needs to validate you. Your validation is in the Lord. And it is with your morals and your ethics and your reasons and your whys and your choices. It is what you believe. You validate yourself. That is where it all matters. Okay. My life is my own. I build it. My voice is my own. I let it be heard. My presence is powerful. I deserve to take up space. I welcome financial abundance with gratitude, knowing it allows me to create and give life with freedom. I allow my creativity to flow freely with trust and joy. I am a daughter of God. I'm going to talk about I allow my creativity to flow freely and trust with joy. One thing I struggled with being an influencer is, we're going to dive in. Finally, are we getting there to the recovering influencer part? Or, I think this all ties in together, truthfully. But regarding my journey as becoming a recovering influencer, So for me, when I really started to get in fluctuation of brand deals, I started charging brands more. My account was growing. I had a larger following. I was posting every day, consistently posting every day, treating it as my job, showing up. I was 9 to 5 all the time, all the time. But I personally have always held myself to a high standard. And the standard of being like, oh, social media bullies don't get me. Oh, social media mean commenters don't get me. Oh, social media does not distort my self-worth. Social media does not affect my reflection of myself. Social media isn't a comparison. Like all these things that we tell ourselves. But the biggest thing where I struggled, and I didn't know I was struggling because I held myself to these standards, like my standards I was holding just put this like cute little protective bubble around me and nothing could get me or hurt me because I held myself to these standards, was a bunch of bullshit. Bunch of BS. I have uncomfortably been calling myself out for the past year and really reflecting and diving into the hard truths about myself that I've been lied to myself about, just because I constantly wanted to seem like I had it all together and I was a strong girl and I had these standards and I fell nothing short of them and yada yada yada. And so the biggest thing for me is I put my worth and my value in numbers and not in my follower count. I could care less about that. But I put my worth in my engagement, my reactions, my likes, my numbers, because I valued another company's hard work and money that they were choosing to spend with me. A brand deal. We agree upon deliverables in exchange for cash. Okay, so I'm coming up with all these deliverables. I'm creating the content, whether that's videos, photography, whatever it may be. And truthfully, now that I look back, I was very hard on myself too, with the stuff that I created. You know, I constantly felt like what I was creating was unworthy because it was not aesthetically pleasing. It was not trendy. It was not popular. You know, my style has always been very different. I have never flown with the direction of the river when it comes to following the trends of the style. I honestly never picked up inspiration from trends. I never paid attention to what other people were wearing. I just put together in my head what made sense and called it a look, and it worked for me. And so I would constantly have this up and down roller coaster, which is very common though, of like engagement and likes and whatever that may be, the appreciation for the outfits that I'm putting together. And so I based, so much worry and also so much of my pride, so much worry, so much of my pride, so much, am I my worth? Am I even worth this amount if I cannot deliver a high like account, if I cannot deliver sales to them, if I cannot deliver blah, blah, blah. But what I never gave myself credit for was all the work I had done up leading to that point. You know, I had built this account from nothing up to what it was. I had put together this creative idea with these products that they sent me, and I went out and, shot them myself, edited them myself, curated them towards my audience. I did all these things, and then once I put it out into the world of Instagram, it's out of my control. Wow. It's out of my control. And I would try so hard to control every aspect of my post, and I would wait till the perfect time, and then I would wait and wait and wait and wait. And sometimes I wouldn't even post, and then be 2 weeks later, and then I'm like, where's that content? And it was just this vicious cycle because I constantly wanted to see high performance. Constantly wanted to see high numbers rolling in, because then I felt like I was valued. I felt like what I was being paid was, I was really earning it. And so I really just developed a super negative relationship with social media. And not only that, like it really started to tank my self-love and self-comparison. And I would compare to other accounts who were doing little to nothing and receiving such high engagement. But now that I look back, their little to nothing was authentic. It was raw. It was unedited. It was realistic to who they were in that moment. They weren't trying to be anything that they weren't. And I was constantly trying to appeal to the consumer and to the audience and to the brands and to everybody else but myself. And I was not fueling and doing like what was making me happy. It's like, how can I get high numbers? How can I get high numbers? Like this ick obsession with just wanting like constant high performance, because it made me feel like my value was worth it, you know? And so I even wrote this little thing down. And so I spent years curating a life for strangers, but I was losing myself in the process. I was showing up as the girl who always had her hair done, always had her makeup done. I really tried every now and then, and often did. I kind of gonna retract that statement because I 100% showed up with messy hair, no makeup. I kept it authentic and I kept it real. That wasn't my issue, but I was losing myself in the hustle and the bustle and the obsession. And that obsession, here's where I lost myself, was comparison. I really began to compare. And I was constantly, how can I do better? How can I get these numbers? It's like taking notes, analyzing, becoming obsessed versus like, Sam, what is fulfilling to you? What makes you happy? What is authentic to who you are? What feels good, feels right, comes naturally? Because when it comes naturally and it's authentic, it'll be received so much better. And it's easier to be received because then there's an openness of connection. It's not feeling overly edited or curated or pushy or salesy. Like, if it's authentic, raw, and real, baby, the connection there is already there. It's human. It's a humanly connection. You're gonna feel drawn to it 100% more than you would, the girl who's trying to shove something down her throat and is being somebody she's not. Because you can see through the bullshit. Us as people, we don't think that people can see through our BS. No, 100%. Human to human, person to person who struggles, goes in and out in days. We're all made up of atoms and molecules and derived from the same earth and the ground and the dirt, and we'll go back in the dust. We're all the same. So yeah, we can see through the bullshit. So besides being able to see through the BS, I really, felt it was important to kind of reflect on like, hey, whoa. Where did this come from? And this just came from a place of perfectionism, and a perfectionism of making people proud and people accepting me and having something to show for and something to stand on and stand behind me and my work. And not only that, but it was really a reflection too. It became a reflection of the poor environment that I was in. I was in an environment, I was dating a guy that did not support my social media journey whatsoever. I dated a guy before this guy that was all about support of the social media journey, but that's because he wanted the spotlight. He wanted to reap my rewards without the work, be in the spotlight, self-centered, like, that is why he was okay with it. So it was this constant battle of like, dude, take a breather. Constantly not feeling supported. Then rolling over into my next relationship, my longest relationship, which was the prime of my social media career. I was in an environment where I was not supported whatsoever because my spouse was insecure and constantly projected their insecurities onto me by calling me cringy, by asking me why would people like that, by laughing at me. I never, it got to the point where I never even felt comfortable putting my phone up to talk on a story because of the comments, the looks, the stares I was about to receive from somebody who's supposed to love me and support me. And so once again, back to what I said about being told things, and then when you soak them up like a sponge and consume them, you believe them. And I began to believe those things. So I was trying so hard. I was overworking myself to be perfect for my spouse. So I wasn't cringy. That's not flattering. Nobody's gonna like that. What are you even doing? This social media shit is so stupid. Like, trying so hard not to fall into that category, but then also trying to be in the category of high performance and getting numbers. And so the comparison started to just roll in, and the self-doubt and the hatred and no self-love. And one thing that I always found funny to me was people would always be, gosh, Sam, you're so confident. Gosh, Sam, you're so confident. Gosh, Sam, you're so confident. And that really just always came from having a good attitude. And last night I was talking to my boyfriend about what I wanted this episode to be about. And I was going through a few choices. And one of my choices, though, was discussing, all this self-work I've been doing and how I took my life from this to this. And, he had asked me, what does that look like? And I'm like, truthfully, like, I don't have a chart. I don't have a system. I don't have a book. I don't have it paperized. Like, I don't have that. But what I did have, and I constantly had, was a good attitude. I constantly chose to have a positive attitude. And I think that is where my reflection of being confident came from. Because I was constantly smiling. I was constantly bubbly. I stood proud. I was happy to be there. I was joyous because I also didn't want people to be having a bad time around me. Like, that's not fun. Like, I wanted people to be enjoying being in my space, and let alone, like, I'm a people person and I love to love people, and loving people was also an escape for me. And so, of course, like, it was easy to be perceived as confidence when really it was just a positive attitude trying to keep me afloat and push on to the next day and not hate myself and just ask myself, gosh, why aren't you growing? Why you're so ugly? This outfit's so stupid. You're not, like, whatever negative self-talk I was just hammering into myself because I was hearing it from other people on a daily and from somebody who's supposed to love me. Somebody who's supposed to love me. And that is honestly what hurts me the most, is just the fact that I allowed myself to be in an environment so long where I received such negative things, but I wasn't taught to be anywhere else. I didn't know any better. I thought this was it. I thought this is what I deserve. I'll make it work. I made the commitment. I'll stick it out. I'll stick it through. Who cares if, whatever. Then yeah, so, besides my environment, oh my gosh, y'all, I'm about to flip a page to my notebook because speaking of environment, I cannot pass up the opportunity to talk about environment. The other night, my boyfriend and I, we were in the living room, and also, he was stretching. He's suffering from an injury, and he was stretching, and I'm training to become a Pilates teacher, and I go to help him get into his stretch, and it was just like no budge, nothing at all, and I just started rolling laughing. I'm like, he is so uncomfortable right now. I'm like, because he had his butt in the air, and I was like trying to adjust him, and I'm like, he does not want me hovering over his ass right now trying to adjust him while he's trying to stretch. He's like, get out of my space, girl. And I just laughed because it was just like stiff, no budge, nothing, and we belly laughed. And then I picked up my notebook, and when we're done laughing, I got back on this couch and I picked up my notebook and I just started writing. I started creating, and I dawned on me, I was like, holy shit. I was like, I'm creating in a shared space right now with someone. And if he were to ask me, like, hey babe, what are you writing? I'd be like, hey, look at it, read it. You want me to read it out loud? Can I read it to you? Like, do you want to know? Because of the environment he offers me is loving, it's kind, it's supportive, it's gentle, it's soft. It's an environment for me to flourish and bloom and grow, and it's not dark. It's bright. And that's when I realized, whoa, I've never been able to do that before. Even in front of my friends, if I had to pop up on my phone really quick, I'd get a little nervous, I'd get a little shy, but especially in a shared space with a spouse, I could never create. I always have to go hide, have to go step away for a second, then it'd be like, what are you doing? Where are you at? Blah, blah, blah. Just could not leave me alone. But I was like, whoa, I'm creating in a space with someone else. And if they were to ask me, can I read? Yes, you can read. And so I'm just it made me realize how important it is as a creative to have a healthy environment and have an environment to where you can create freely, because no creation is a bad creation. Remember that. If you are creating, you are doing. And to create is an expression. And when you're expressing, you are leaving your mark. And we should freely be able to leave our mark on this world any way we want. What is art to you may not be art to some. That is what Coco Rocha told me that her very first modeling coach had ever told her. What is art to you may not be art to some. And that is okay. That is absolutely okay. So if you were creating and you were doing with trust and joy, it's all that matters. That's one of the reasons why I am so thankful that I'm such a creator, because that allows me the opportunity to leave something behind on this world and this earth, whether that's through photography, whether that's video, art, song, paint, whatever it may be. I will not be song. I wish it was so bad, but it won't. Oh, guys, literally ask me what I would do in my second life. I would come back and be a singer-songwriter, a performer. I 100% feel like I was meant for the big stage and dancing and singing and interacting with a big crowd because I love music. I love music. Music is so moving. It's so connecting. It brings people together. It brings peace. It brings harmony. It brings unity. It brings all these things. And it's the best way to get a message out to the world through a tune and a vibration that makes you feel good. Oh, I would be a singer-songwriter. But I'm going to flip to this page. And I'm going to read to you what I wrote while I was having a reflection of just sitting in my space with my man and freely creating. Okay. Okay. I am surrounded by love, and love is fertile ground for creativity. The words flow, the ideas expand, and I no longer second guess the spark before it ignites. My artistry isn't stifled by survival, nor is my expression tangled in the weight of self-doubt. I am no longer fighting to be heard or understood. I simply am. In this state of safety, I flourish. My mind is free to wander, my hands are free to create, and my soul is free to dance with inspiration. Because when you are nurtured, when you are safe, when you are loved, your creativity doesn't just exist. It thrives. It thrives. It freaking aching bacon fries. It thrives, y'all. Isn't that so cool? Like, truly am blessed that I was able to have that realization just in that moment. And I thank God every dadgum day for the man that he has placed in my life and how we cross paths. Like, I can tell you right now, if you would have brought him to me any sooner, I would have not been ready to receive him. But through the waiting, through the trial and error, through the agony, through the pain, through the discovery of who I am, it prepared me to be the perfect partner for him. And I am so thankful that he admires me and loves me, and he adores me for everything that I am and nothing less. It is such a cool feeling, and I cannot wait till I get to speak on my testimony to love. So, besides that, before we get all lovey-dovey, I was talking about being a recovering influencer. Yeah, so being a recovering influencer, story time. We love story time. I love story time. Love to tell stories. Okay. So, I know you guys know. If you don't know and you're just catching the second episode and not the first, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of how the beginning of my 2024 year back in February went. In February, I was publicly defamed by a woman who did not even know me, and then my ex-boyfriend that wanted to jump on the train while being engaged to catch any attention and riff he could off of using my name, although we had not spoken in 3 years nor been together, but took this time to call me every name in the book. Oh my gosh, the rumors that they said about me were horrendous. So the Western community, they all everybody, influencers, people I knew and loved that I had spent time with, built relationships with, started to feed into these rumors that were being publicized about me and slandering my name and my character and everything I built and who I was, everything I believed in, like horrifically slandering my name in a way that in majority, people have never been talked about before. Blew my freaking mind. And just to have the people that I thought had my back, thought were in my circle, thought that loved me, really expose themselves when how quickly they jumped on the train to defamate me and hurt me and belittle me and talk bad about me and simply spread these rumors. Spread these rumors for their own attention. And I was like, ha, you've been preying on my downfall. Nice. But I'm so happy God let that happen and just took that 2-week moment where I had to get a lawyer involved for cease and desist. Like, that's how bad it got. But I'm so happy God took that moment in my life, showed me the environment that I was in, unrevealed a lot of true colors, and gave me a moment to reflect and ask myself, is this really where I want to be and what I'm doing and how I'm doing it? And from then on, I continued to reflect, and it was good timing. My page, when all that was happening, the views were skyrocketing. Oh my gosh, the views on my page were crazy, but I was losing followers. I was losing engagement. I was getting hate comments, negative DMs, whatever it may be. And so I took a month and a half off social media after that, and then I tried again to post on that same account. And in the beginning, my account was Retro Amiga, which was my persona I had gone by. And after that month and a half jumping back on Instagram, I made the decision, I'm going to change this to my name. Because if you want to talk shit about me, you got to use my motherfucking name, baby. Say it with your chest. My name is Samantha Bell Wooten. Don't forget to enunciate it. But I don't know what I was going to say. Whatever. But for real. So I changed my handle to my name. I began to post. I didn't even announce that I was changing my handle. People were like, why'd you change your handle? And then I was like, hey, if you're going to talk shit about me, use my fucking name. Straight up. Use it, spell it right. At least spell it right. Honestly, nothing is more frustrating. Not frustrating, because what an embarrassment it is to badmouth somebody, use their name, and spell it incorrectly. Come on. You're already telling me you're not doing your homework by believing these lies and spreading them, but don't tell me you're really not even knowing who the hell you're talking about if you cannot spell my name right. What a joke. But in February, that really took place. And as time went on, I began to post again, and it just was never the same. It just never felt the same to me. I never felt like these people deserved me anymore. And let alone from that, I really started to get this feeling. I was like, you know what? I'm meant for more. I'm meant for bigger horizons, bigger arenas, bigger fields, bigger grassy areas, bigger pastures, bigger open roads. I am meant for more. I don't have to keep playing it small to fit in with you guys. I don't have to keep playing it small, period. I don't have to keep playing it small in this industry. I can step outside of this industry and be just as great and successful. So July rolled around. February 2nd, July, 5 months later. So 5 months later, it rolls around, and my friend Rainey and I, we're talking on the phone, and her and I, we have great conversations, and she just really offers a lot of insight when I just need to open up, vent. She listens, she validates me, and she just gives great advice and feedback back. And I was like, I'm really feeling this push and this pull to start over. I'd already felt the need to start over, but I mean start over in my career, in my social media account, something that's been a part of me for 5 years. I've built this platform for 5 years, giving it blood, sweat, and tears. But something about me is willing to let go of my status, willing is to let go of my income, willing to let go of the who I am, the what I have built, my business. Just let it go. And she said, you know what, Sam? You cannot accept your new life without disconnecting your old one. And I was like, you know what? You were so right. And I'm somebody that I give commitments and big changes a little bit of thought and a little bit of time. I don't jump, I don't hurry, I don't rush, because I'm someone that when I make a commitment, baby, I am all in. All in. And there is no turning back, even if it's a poor commitment. Well, now I can say that I have enough self-awareness. I won't do that anymore. Damn it. But I am all in. So I give it thought. So I was really almost to that turning point, let's do it. And her and I just had a great conversation, and she encouraged me, start over, abandon an account, make a new one. You owe nobody nothing. You owe nobody an explanation. And she was right. I knew I owed nobody anything. This was my story, my life, my decision, what I wanted to do with it. And so I was in Colorado at the time and driving up to Twin Falls. Well, I'm driving up to Twin Falls, Idaho, and my phone was unrecognized, blah, 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 trying to hack. So basically, somebody was trying to hack into my Instagram account. And I was like, son of a bee, are you freaking kidding me? This is the last thing on my list I honestly want to deal with, is trying to fight off this hacker. And in that moment, I realized how disconnected I was with that account. Take it, hacker. Please have it. That does not define me. That does not hold value to my worth. That account does not define me. That does not make me who I am. That is a part of who I am, but it is not the definition of who I am. And so when I really felt that moment of if I lost it, I'd be okay. And I was like, well, that's your sign. That's your final sign and your push to do it, baby girl, to start over. And so I did. I made a brand new Instagram account. I made a farewell post on my old Instagram account. It's still up if you want to check it out. Retro.amiga or Retro Amiga, something like that. It's a time capsule of my 5 years of Western fashion lifestyle and content. Please check it out. I love that page. It was a big part of who I am. It was a big part of my story, but it's not where my story ends. And so I created a new account and I felt so much more free. The amount of freedom I felt was insane. And I just began to post what made me feel good and what made me happy and what I liked. And since July, I've built this account up to a little over 5,000 followers. And although it's not much, it's honest. And everybody that has chosen to follow me, I always click their account. I see who's coming in, who's following me, the type of people I'm attracting, and the community I'm attracting is everything I could have ever asked for. And I'd be so much more happier with these 5,000 than those 90,000. Because these 5,000s, they're engaging. We're engaging back with each other. We support each other. We're a community. And that's what I've always wanted, is a community. When I really took out like the old fashioned thing and just started to post like authentic to who I am, my life, because I'm not your average girl. I skydive, I ride motorcycles, I team rope, I solo travel, I do crazy adventures, I just am always hurting myself. I'm rough, I'm tough, I'm rowdy, I'm off the wall, I'm unordinary, I'm tomboy, I'm all those wild things besides a cute dress and some makeup and a ponytail. And so when I really started to post like authentically to who I am, the reaction I was receiving was so much more pure. It's been so much real. It's been real. It's been, the value's been higher. It's been quality, not quantity. 100%. I have received quality instead of quantity, and that is what I want. And that is what I've been wanting for a long time. So I am so happy to be in my new space. And if you were thinking of starting over and scared to start over, hell yeah, it's scary, dude. Like, that was my income. That's how I made money. That was my status of being invited to all these influencer events and getting to do these fun things and getting to go out and getting, these cool products. Like, that was that. But I wasn't afraid to let it go in order to have my own peace and reinvent myself for myself and who I was. Starting over didn't scare me. Starting over, I saw an opportunity. I 100% saw an opportunity to absolutely be who I want to be and show up as myself. There's so many little tickles around here. It's crazy. And I saw as an opportunity to really do something with my life and really step into my calling, really step into my purpose, and really be who is it that I'm called to be, because I can show up as myself and I can curate this to be anything that I want to be because it is mine and I have the power, and Lord compels me with my voice to give me strength, and I'm taking my power back, and I have my trust and my faith in Him to stand strong and speak openly, and I'm not looking back. And I'm so happy that I did that. So happy. And I even wrote, now I create for my soul, not for an audience. And truthfully, being a recovering influencer isn't about hating social media. I don't hate social media. I had just built a negative relationship with it. And so over the past 6 months of this new account, I've really been working on building a positive relationship with it and integrating a healthier relationship with social media again, because there are so many things I love about social media. I love the people I get to meet. I love the opportunity to connect. I love the opportunity to work. I love the opportunity to make income. How cool is that? How cool is that to make money off sharing your own creatives? Isn't that sick? And I just love social media. And you get recipes and you get home DIYs. And, everybody is telling their story through social media, is leaving something behind on this world, this mark, this whatever it may be to them. Social media is such a beautiful thing if you use it as a tool and you use it as a form of expression and you use it as a gateway to tell your story and encourage people and influence people positively and be a positive, kind, loving, remarkable influence on this world, because that's all people need. Is they need, not everybody has the tools to jump and be a jumper and take that first step. And, but what we do need are positive leaders, and leaders who make us feel seen, and leaders who make us feel good, and leaders who make us feel wanted and heard. And so stepping into that social media realm is like why I was so excited to do it in the first place. And that really is the backbone of like why I continue to have an account. I could have just thrown it all away. I'm like, I'm done with this, to hell with this. Like, everything I'd worked for has been shat on and X, Y, and Z. But like, you didn't take that away from me. You didn't take my real reason why I started this. You didn't take anything away from me. You just showed me a different way. You showed me a better way. I don't have regrets. I don't have any regrets. I don't have any hate. I don't have any grudges. I don't have anything towards anybody. Because my life is absolutely better because of it. And I could not be where I am today without that hiccup. I could not be where I am today without people defaming my name, without people calling me out, without people hating on me, without the poor relationships I went through, without the self-doubt and all the hate that I went through. Like, I would not be who I am and not be able to have the position of self-reflection and be able to do the self-work and now dive into my self-awareness if it wasn't for those things. And now I get the opportunity to share these with others who might be might be struggling right now, might be going through it, might be scared to start, might be scared to transition, scared to start over, scared what people will think. Like, fuck what people think. I'm so sorry, y'all. I know I have not gotten the audio on this figured out, so I know that was so loud. But F what people think. Nothing matters. We all turn to dust at the end of the day. So why is an opinion from somebody who's just as equal as you and has the same opportunities to be whoever they want to be on this earth get to disvalidate you and hurt you and harm you with their words in one ear and out the other? Who cares? Who cares? This is your life, baby girl, baby boy, whatever. Whatever you want to be, do it for you and your soul purpose and your reason and your why, and do it freely. Do it openly and do it proudly and do it loudly. You have nothing to lose. You don't have anything to lose by being yourself. You only have something to gain. You only have something to gain: beautiful relationships, beautiful opportunities, things that align with who you are, your visions, your energies, because you are showing up as yourself. Now, this is truthfully all I have written down and what I kind of wanted to talk about on my spiel about becoming a recovering influencer. And if you are just in this cycle of what the hell do I do with my hands, just start. Or DM me. Let's do it together. I am more than happy to have an open discussion about what you're going through and what is keeping you at bay and what is keeping you from pushing the start button. I am more than happy to help guide you through this. That is what I'm here for. This is what I want this platform to be. And yeah, girl, reach out to me. Reach out to me, please. I would love to connect. But most importantly, redefining or the whole recovering influencer spiel. I think it was a great spiel for me to speak on and something really near and dear to my heart, because it was such a journey that I went through that I did not realize I was going through, and I did not realize I had fallen into the pits of social media. I thought I was above that, and when truthfully none of us are above that. Like, we can all be deceived, we can all be hurt, we can all be taken advantage of, whatever. But I'm happy I was able to show up. I'm happy I was able to be vulnerable. I'm happy I was able to remove my strong girl cloak and talk about this with you guys, because it is a real thing. And I want you to know that whatever you do in this life and in this world, just by starting and just by doing and just by creating, you only have things to gain. Nothing is meant to be perfect. Doing is better than being perfect. Doing is better than being perfect, 110%. Also, a little thing I wrote, my whole thing, what I'm doing right now within my new page and in my journey and who I am and what's going on, I am in the moment of reclaiming authenticity, redefining success. What does success look like? Success looks different for everybody. Absolutely. Why would it look the same? If it all looked the same, we would all be successful. That just don't make sense. But redefining success. My success has been an up and down roller coaster over many, many years, whether it has been personal, business, X, Y, and Z. But breaking free from the pressures of performance, breaking myself free from those shackles of being pressurized to always perform well like a circus animal, because that's not possible. That's just not realistic. That's not maintainable. That's not manageable. Like, it just does not work that way. And just breaking free from those shackles of like always having to have high performance and accepting what is given back to me just by doing and putting out there. And because I know they're not all going to be hits, I know not everybody's going to love them, and that's okay. And more so just understanding that it is okay. It's okay not to be super high performing all the time. That's a part of it. It's realistic. If it was high performing all the time, it wouldn't be fun. You would be complacent and you wouldn't be interested in wondering how to get better, how to move on to the next, how to create, how to brainstorm, because you made it. You did it. You're high performing. You're complacent. You get comfortable, and then you start declining, and then you're frustrated and you're not understanding, why am I declining? This has worked so long. This has worked so long. Why am I declining? So it is totally okay. It's totally normal, and it's totally acceptable to not always be high performing, well liked, loved by everybody, and yada yada yada. As long as you're putting yourself out there and you know your self-worth and love, baby, that is all that matters. All that matters. Well, I'm so happy I got to talk to you guys about becoming a recovering influencer. Thank you for tuning into the Sam Show. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Samantha Bell, B-A-A. Let me redo that for you. At Samantha Bell, B-E-A-L-L _ on Instagram. We will have a YouTube coming soon. I love chatting with you guys, and I hope you just keep moving forward in life and know how beautiful and amazing you are, and affirmate yourself and chase those dreams and goals. And yes, mwah. All right. Love y'all. Bye.